We are on the Twitch side of things. Hey, and there we are. We're working here. And we're broadcasting in 1080. So how about that? We are HD.
Uh-oh. I didn't shower yet, so.
Nor did I. But that's fine.
Well, they could tell in HD.
I know you can.
That works.
I also will occasionally put my glasses on, but today is not a glasses day.
Don't squint too hard.
Yeah, like that's weird to be like, why would I never take these off? If I have the option to make things better, I just keep it on all the time.
Well, it's because
I refuse to get contacts.
If I'm around my screens, like I don't like to have my glasses on because that weakens my eyes, and I have gone many years with having my eyes either strengthen or stay the same. But regardless, do we watch Suzume. It's Animesplaining, folks.
You should have recorded me 5 minutes ago when I got out all my hot takes off the air.
No, the hot takes will be for the wrestling side.
The hot takes will come back once you break it down.
The quintessential time on this when we talk about wrestling for like 20 minutes and annoy everyone who isn't watching.
I would rather talk about things. Things in wrestling are happening. Although this movie probably made more money than a lot of wrestling shows. But
I doubt it. Wrestling for some reason makes a ridiculous amount of money, and I don't know where it comes from.
It does.
I can't tell you. It's got to be merchandising.
This movie made $300 million.
I know that's big for an anime.
That is huge for an anime.
Yeah, I feel like we're in an age where everything's like $500 million bombs and $1 billion hits and stuff. That I hear 300 million, like I guess that's okay.
How much
did they play?
How much did Mugen Train make? And yes, they did play this in movie theaters.
They did. Okay.
I could tell the sound was booming. This sound is for movie theaters. The score is the most incredible thing about this movie.
I feel like Mugen Train
This movie made
Mugen Train wouldn't make as much money.
This movie made $200 million less than Mugen Train. Mugen Train pulled in $500 million.
Is that because of Netflix streaming?
That is according to Box Office Mojo. I don't think that
doesn't feel real.
I know.
That's too much money, Demon Slayer.
Why would they watch the worst version? Again, we established the TV season is the better version of Mugen Train because at least you meet more of the characters and there's more character development between weird drive-through food obsessed guy that's randomly killed by the bad guy.
Black Adam made less than this movie. That's bumming me out. Black Adam made less. I'm out.
Even worldwide,
right.
Black Adam made less?
Black Adam made a worldwide total of $393.3 million. It made less than Mugen Train.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the Mugen Train. Okay. Yeah.
Mugen Train.
Made more than Suzume.
Yeah, more than Suzume, but Mugen Train beat it.
I'm also willing to bet that Black Adam cost a hell of a lot more money than Suzume did.
It cost more than Mugen Train?
That's why I'm bummed out. It cost way more than Mugen Train. See the Flash? It's the Flash.
Oh.
Nope. No, the Flash is $263 million.
You see, the trick
None
is
of them did well.
The trick, DC, is to just turn everything into anime.
Yeah. Apparently that works.
Why...
It's cheaper and you make more money.
Oh fuck, we're gonna have to watch the Suicide Squad anime, aren't we?
No.
We're gonna have to watch it.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, we do. We gotta compare it to this.
Is at least the Warner Brothers animation that's listed with the DC studio?
No, it's with an actual anime studio.
Oh.
It's legit anime.
Do the
It's okay, Joe. You have 2 months of Demon Slayer to get through first.
I don't want to watch more Demon Slayer.
You already said you wanted to watch more Demon Slayer, so now you had the chance. I gave you an off-ramp, and you said, no, let's stay on this road.
Yes, and then you're like, oh, by the way, this is trash.
It is trash.
For you to watch it. Along with this stupid movie we just had to watch.
And now I need to share in my pain, because
This one was
I will say that the fight in the next arc for Demon Slayer is good. The problem is it's front-loaded with a whole lot of bullshit.
the Dragon Ball Z method. All right.
Yeah, and then the problem with the Swordsmith Village arc, which is the most recent arc, is you don't even get a good fight at the end. It's a fucking puzzle boss.
Well, at least is the fight
It's
like
long.
3 episodes long, like season 1.
Yeah, each of them are 11 episodes. They're not like 26 episodes.
No, but I mean like the good fight. Does the good fight at least last like 3 episodes?
No, the
You know better.
the good fight in the Entertainment District arc lasts like half the season.
Okay, so at least there's something to pass the time.
Yeah, in the Swordsmith Village arc, that fight also lasts half the season, but it's also shit. So that's the problem.
And I'm assuming that the rest of it is backloaded with complete bullcrap. That's just a slog.
Yeah, and I won't even ruin it because it does legitimately have like there's literally like one good moment in the entire Swordsmith Village arc, and as you think about it, the more bullshit it becomes.
Like this
Wonderful.
movie.
You come back to Demon Slayer.
Yeah, so talking about Suzume, the thing that we're here to talk about, instead of having this just be a preamble to more Demon
Does
Slayer.
it tell you how uninteresting this stupid movie was that we can talk about anything else and look forward to it, but we got to talk about this stupid over 2-hour bullshit that I had to frickin' sit through for 3 frickin' days because every time I turned it on, I would fall asleep because it's still bullshit.
You watch stuff at 2 a.m. Of course you go to sleep.
I have children I need to put to bed.
I watched this in a movie theater.
Ugh.
And it
At
was
least you had
fine.
popcorn.
It was
It's fine in a movie theater, I'm sure.
Yeah,
I watched it. I did fall asleep, I'll admit. I fell asleep halfway through, and I agreed with Joey for the first half. The second half does change it, though. It does pick up in the second bit. Once it turns into a chair and all that.
Worse. It gets worse.
I disagree. It's a better movie in the second half. There's
Yes.
more characters. There's more going on.
Joey, do you think
know nothing about? Hi, random aunt that I saw the beginning of the goddamn movie, who I have no idea who you are. You don't look familiar at all. Hi, random friend in a convertible. I have no idea who the hell you are. Thank you for randomly showing up and introducing yourself an hour and a half into the goddamn movie. It's stupid.
He's a roommate.
And thank you for
neighbor,
driving me. And thank you
friend?
for driving me halfway across this country on for some randoms you don't know. Why didn't they just say, "Hey, we're here to steal your car"?
That would have been better.
Not exactly.
Joey, looking at this objectively, do you think that you would have come out more positively on this movie if you saw it in a movie theater? Because you were positive about Belle, and I think Belle is about on par with this movie.
No, Belle is better because Belle is whimsical because it's a musical. So musical has the sense of whimsy to it where you can at least put a little bit of logic out the window. Plus they most of the story takes place in the social media world where that also eliminates a big part of your disbelief. So it's easy to suspend disbelief for that one. This is taking place in the real world after I've already watched a better version called Stranger Things.
It's not the same story. You're stuck on that one thing, and I watched 4 seasons of Stranger Things, and there's no similarities.
There are similarities. There are complete similarities. Fine, I'll give you a better musical. Hades Town is a better story. You go back into the afterworld and try to pick up your love interest and sing songs along the way.
I still don't think
Also,
Belle is a musical. I do not think Belle is a musical. I think it is a movie with music in it. But that is neither here nor there. We are not here to talk about whatever that director's name is.
No, wait, real quick before we move on. Do the songs in Belle move the plot forward? Yes.
The songs in this move the plot forward in that
No,
they're
they
playing
don't.
while the
Listen
car
to the
is
stupid
moving
pop
forward.
songs in the car. That doesn't move the plot forward. Like you said, it's just a bad ad for Spotify.
It's a fine ad.
Come listen to this very soothing Japanese pop music. Don't you like summer? Summer's pretty great.
I see where Joey's coming from with it being about, a chair of all things. You're following a chair for most of the movie, and it did feel random, and I did find myself asking, why did Tony make us watch this? like a lot during this, but I feel like it was almost to prove a point that you could tell a great story with anything. You could replace any element, the bad guy, which is just a worm, or what he turned into. It could be a pig or what have you. It didn't matter. It was the emotional connection that sold the entire thing, and I don't know. That was just what it was for me. It was this girl falling in love with this guy and chasing him off to get him back, and that's what sold it for me. But otherwise, yeah, it is kind of a random movie, but it's almost like an exercise where they give you the most difficult subject to work with, and you got to make something out of it. So I feel like him making a better product than Demon Slayer, working with nothing, that should earn extra 5 stars by default. Just me. Because Demon Slayer at least has like seasons and seasons to try, and it's still shit. This did it in one movie. I felt for these characters. I feel for
At
no
least
one in Demon Slayer.
Demon Slayer, even the bad arcs lead to something. Like even that stupid stuff in front of like the bullshit Demon Slayer committee leads to something. It leads to the Mugen Train because the one guy follows him and he wins him over and blah blah blah. I can agree with you the story was garbage, but at least it leads to something. This one is like, okay, she's traumatized as a girl. What does that mean when she goes in the ever after? Fuck all. That's what it means. Like, it means that she gets to talk to her little girl self one time. Cool. And then she magically gets whisked back through time. Dumb movie.
The
Like you were paying attention to
the weaknesses of this movie, I will certainly say that it feels like at least the main plot line feels like a template of a plot line. I think that the side characters are so much more interesting than your main cast, and that might be a problem.
They are more interesting, but I also feel like they're not necessary. I feel like this is a much shorter story that was spaced out with more characters just thrown in. This is very much an A to B love story, but they're like, this would only be an hour. This should technically be like maybe 30 minutes or an hour, but they needed more to put.
Yeah, you're trying to have your cake and eat it too. You are trying to have your indie road trip movie where like it's all about your characters going to, different states and meeting these wacky characters, and we all learn something about our lives on top of we need to keep the earth from cracking in half.
I will say,
it's absurd.
I do think the main characters are the most interesting characters in the show. I will say, like, Soda and Suzume are the two most interesting ones. The problem is, 15 minutes into the movie, you turn Soda into a chair, so you just made him a comedy act. And then Suzume, because I like the arc where, like, you get, like, kind of the low-key, like, female character not wanting to bother anybody, being very shy to the world, getting stronger as she develops throughout the movie. Like, again, case in point, Ellen Ripley in Alien. Best version of this. The problem with Suzume in this one is she's not doing it to get to, like, embolden herself and make herself stronger. She does it for a love interest. So in the end, it's because she still needs a man, and that becomes problematic. The side characters... all the side characters are largely forgettable except for their bad qualities. Like, again, convertible guy, the aunt who seems like she's just not there for Suzume herself, or then the grandfather is like, no, just let my grandson die.
You don't want to hang out in that one, like, mom's bar? I want to hang out there.
Right. I think that's just it. This is a movie of just cool shit. It's just a road trip of just cool random shit, and they just needed an excuse. It is primarily a road trip movie, and they just threw things in there because they need to drive the plot forward. Like, we need a bad guy, a worm, and what does it do? It fracks the planet. I don't fucking know.
Creates earthquakes.
Like, they just throw it in there. Makes earthquakes. Like, turns the boyfriend into something. A chair? Yeah, a chair. Like, someone's making this up, reading it to their daughter in bed. That's what it feels like. This is just making this shit up as they go along, and that's charming to me. I find it charming because this feels like it was going nowhere for 2 hours in the best way. It's completely original. I haven't seen anything like this before.
I will give this the benefit of the doubt. It does, like, again, if I'm not watching it today, it's easier to watch. Like, it cruises through because, again, you don't know where the hell this movie is coming from, so you're like, okay, I need this question at least answered. It's like watching Lost.
Yeah, that's a good comparison. That's a better comparison than Stranger Things. Lost is a much better comparison. I don't know. Of this one, I guess you just have to. It's the definition of turn your brain off fun. Like something will just pop up and I go, whatever. I'm just kind of forget it. Like, oh, the stone's a cat.
If you
Moving
have
on,
all
huh?
of
There's
these
a door.
questions, Marlon, you can't turn your brain off. It's like, why the hell is there a talking cat? It's because she picked up this random statue. Why? What is this? And now it's a key. Cool. What
Yeah.
does it open? I don't know.
Right. It's like a grim fairy tale. It's like, and then she ran into a wolf, and the wolf talked to her, and the wolf was dressed like a grandmother.
It's a key that opens nothing. It's a keystone that opens nothing. It just fights the worm in the upside down. So it's not a key. It's just a weapon.
It's a key. It keeps the door closed so it doesn't come through.
Yes, but then they go into the upside down and it fights the worm for them. It serves as the big distraction when it turns into Falcor from the Never-Ending Story.
Oh, you saw that too. Yeah, I also called it Falcor. It's like,
So this is actually my problem with Suzume. I have many problems. Like, I came out of this more positive, but there's definitely this is kind of like we said with Demon Slayer, like, if you're mediocre, that's almost kind of worse than being bad, because you can point out, like, this is everywhere where you could have done better.
Yeah.
The thing that Suzume needs is, one, it needs a better beginning. Because the beginning, you just have Suzume going down the street, hey, there's Sota, cool, I'm going to go back, I see this door. I understand, like, the instinct that the storyteller would have to say, like, oh, well, we need to start this with, like, oh, you don't know what these things are, who these characters are, so you're immediately intrigued. But it doesn't really work. I would much rather have the movie in almost a, like, 1980s, 1990s way, like, introduce, like, Suzume just doing stuff, and in musical terms, having her I Want song to, like, tell you, hey, this is Suzume. She doesn't necessarily like this rural area. Like, she wants something more out of life, but what is that thing? And then she sees this long-haired dude who's 5 years older than her when she's 17.
He's the drifter.
Mr. Pan. Is he Japanese? That's all that matters.
Because she's a high school girl. He's like, oh, he's a cute rebel. Let me follow him and stalk him into this death-defying mission that's now become my life.
Yeah, and the problem is that by not doing that, you actually have an emotional moment hit so much less because of it. Because at the end of your second act, and she tells off her aunt going, like, you're smothering me, it comes out of nowhere. Because we don't know what Suzume wants other than this guy that she met 3 days ago that is now having some sort of cosmic horror plot as a chair. It's like, I am so cold. I am chair. Am I any more than chair? No. I have become chair.
We talked about the
when you not trying to help him too, that's a horrible situation. How does he even speak? How is he even talking? There's a lot going on there.
I mean, they already established the talking cat that they found on Twitter. So that.
Yeah, but a cat has a mouth. Okay, there's some logic there. It could have a voice box.
But it's not talking to the random people that are taking pictures of it on Twitter. In theory, it's not.
And the cat they didn't find on Twitter. They merely follow it because it's on Twitter, because absolutely everyone in Japan sees a cat and immediately needs to post it in a public method on social media. Look at that fucking cat. Oh my god.
I assumed it talked to all of them. I enjoyed that it was exact inverse for the chair. Like, this chair is talking. We have to fucking kill it. We have to get this fucking chair right now.
Put it on the fire.
Burn it. $5,000 reward.
This chair's an abomination.
That's illogical. I guess I appreciate that about this. It's not as random as you think. It is a very boring, normal world with this fantastical element just thrown into it. And I guess that's why I didn't need much of a setup for Suzume. I don't need to know her backstory or anything. It's just girl. Once upon a time, there was some girl. She was going to school, and then this happened. And now she has to deal with whatever this is. And that's That's all it really was to me.
This-
But the point about her mom being smothered, you're right, or her aunt rather, it did come out of nowhere, and I watched the scene feeling like, did I miss something? Do I have to watch this again? It wasn't set up before at all.
Well, this like so again, the love story part, and like I'm willing to give a pass. Again, I'm a fan of musicals. Like Les Mis has the like, you know, the daughter that falls in love with the guy she sees for the first time, and they're immediately both in love with each other. Whatever. That I'm willing to get a pass. Belle is very similar. She sees the Beast online, is like, oh, I'm drawn to this person. Then, so that part I'm willing to forgive. Plus,
That movie forward
not
faster.
not necessarily falling for an older guy because that can get problematic, but at least like her being a 17-year-old and is like heightened by emotion and like at least like, oh, like I'm not used to the world and this is the first guy I see that I have like a romantic interest in. I'll follow him. That makes sense too, or at least like that I can suspend my disbelief in that part being the problem. But one of the problems now I have that we talk about, if this is a movie that's marketed towards girls, you usually want to start it off on a more, or just for children in general. If you usually want to start it off on like a happier note, hey, get to know Suzume. Like she's this happy-go-lucky kid, maybe being smothered a little bit, but like she goes to school, she has fun, or she's a loner, she's this. No, you started off by little girl looking for her mom in a very dark setting. So you're already established that this movie is going to be depressing. It's not happy. It's not whimsical. It's going to be sad.
James and a giant peach. That started off grim. That ended really happy.
But the beginning starts like it's like still colorful and it's still happy. Yes, he has the two aunts that treat him like absolute dog shit. But
Greytown.
But the colors of the movie and the setting of the movie is established like it's still like happy. But
I feel like this one is very bright. It's a very bright, shiny, visually appealing movie. I feel like it's something a kid could watch. It's just
it is
the script and the subject matter that gets really
it is
heavy
later on. It gets, but the very beginning of the movie has got that kind of the dark blue because she's in the ever after and she's looking for her mom, and you're waiting to find out why, and that's the big like, again, the big kind of plot device of the movie that moves it forward and again leads to fuck all. But
well, it turns out it's her. It's like a whole time travel thing.
By the way, now that
your mom.
When we were kids, all of the media that we watched ended up with abandoned children. It's fine. We turned out okay.
Right,
we're prepared to have
anybody.
Let's watch North.
Yeah.
No one watched North. That's why it's the biggest joke when it comes to filmmaking. But I mean, yes, like Batman, anybody. That's what Batman's any child is. Or not.
It's the easiest way to give a character depth. It's just give them a tragedy. And how do you give them a tragedy? Just kill a parent. Just pick up a parent, just kill them off.
They do that in Belle too. Like they do that in so many of the things that we've seen.
They don't really kill off a parent.
Very lazy.
But your parent's not. Oh no, they do. That's right. She goes to the river and she rescues somebody and then never comes back.
Hey Tanjiro, what happened to your family? Oh.
Right. Every single time, you're not allowed.
The other thing, doesn't anyone in the ever after like? I understand they're dead, but you've established there's dead people there. Do any of them do anything to like prevent the worm from getting out of the upside down?
I don't think.
It's just left to these random people that most of which can't see it, but luckily I randomly can because I went through a door frame. Like.
I don't think people really go through the ever after. I think just like stuff goes through there. Because they talk about how it's like, oh, this is the realm where the gods like have their land. And the whole thing is like as humans have moved on to the thing but then abandon it, the gods get mad because we're not using it anymore. And it sucks. It's boring now.
Oh, by the way, why did speaking of that stuff that comes out of the ever after, where the cat says, Suzume, like, why would you say this to somebody that loves you? Like, is the cat a past relative, or is the cat just the cat that emerges and loves her automatically?
No, the cat.
You're right. They didn't develop on that.
No, the cat is just something that it's like immediately said. It's just a toxic cat, really. It's like, no, you love me. It's like, no, you've been a dick this whole time. I really wanted her to spike that cat.
Speak to me in
Yeah.
I thought it got eaten by the bigger cat, and then it just got held in its mouth.
Yeah.
Gaslighting cat.
But then they fight. Then again, they weaponize in the Upside Down to fight the worm. So I
guess it was cool to be in the climax.
Because then
they did their job. That's not how I felt about it. They did what they were supposed to do, and they were trying to avoid doing this whole time by having someone else take their place.
Yep.
So, in fact, they just did what they were supposed to do, and the whole thing's over.
Exactly. They didn't let Sota do just what he was supposed to do. He was supposed to be the frozen chair on top of the worm that held the worm on for all time. But Suzume couldn't let him go, so she had to go find her love interest and take the chair off its perch and turn him back into
a cat that could have did it. Not only was there the one white cat, but then a larger black one showed up. Like, why don't we just use that guy? Why doesn't he just friggin' do it?
Which again, he did it anyway. Randomly showed up halfway through the movie to the random the grandfather who's dying of, I don't know, whatever. He just knows he's in the hospital.
He's dying of being old. It's like
being old. Let's put him in a bed. It's happening.
Can't you establish that maybe he at least died in battle if he's one of these people that have fought these things and knows all about it? Nope, I'm just a coward.
I honestly thought that the grandfather was going to have an arc when I first saw this. I thought it's like, oh yeah, he's a curmudgeon now, but he's like going to, like when he has his little moment of like, oh, hello, old friend, he's talking to like the cat. I thought it's like, oh, he's going to die and become the Keystone in Sota's stead, and it's going to be a whole thing. Nope, he's just a cranky old man.
Anything you guess, the movie is like, nah, it's not that. You're not gonna get that.
I don't have the time to explain this to you, viewers. Just follow these random acts I wanted to draw. Stupid.
How do people feel about this? Because maybe this is something that I just noticed because I've watched so much anime, but this is also a problem I have with Demon Slayer. It's that for the localizers, so for the dub, sometimes you can just shut up. I don't care if the character is talking in the original like Japanese version. If they're facing away from the camera and we can discern what they're doing, just have them shut up. There are so many points in Suzume where she's like running towards something and her back is towards the camera and she's like, it's the Keystone. It's like, yeah, it's a visual medium. We can see that.
Well, I think that's you watching too much anime as well, because that's one of the things I enjoyed about anime is you don't really have to look at it. You point out it's a visual medium, but most of the time they're describing what they're showing you anyway. So like, why do I even have to look at this? I could be on my phone, I could be reading a book. As a teenager, I would read comic books and watch anime at the same time because you don't need to look at the screen. I would just look up when there's a fight scene going on and go right back. You don't have to pay attention. It's great. So I think it's great.
It's tough because did we even know what the Keystone was?
This is at the point where they're like fighting the worm. You know what the Keystone is. They've explained it like 6 times.
Yeah. They do explain a lot and not the right things. They over-explain all the wrong things. Like that's not what I want to know more about. What's going on with the old guy? You should overexpose him a little bit.
There's another question. Who was the guy getting mad at the aunt? Was the aunt living with another dude? Like, was she married?
That's just her. That's her like work love interest, who's just a dude who wants to get in her pants, but is not going to because she's now like she's now gone to cougarlife.com and talked to this dude with a convertible.
I hate this movie so much.
I guess I don't know what else to compare it to. There's something I've seen movies like this before where it's just road trip, random event after random event, and I think that's the only way to really enjoy this. You gotta just not think about these things too much.
Said, Marlon, like you said, you watched 4 seasons of it with Stranger Things, which is a better version.
God.
No, it's
not the same.
No, it's if anything, it's like a Garden State or like any of those like maudlin indie movies.
So much.
That's it. Garden State is a great comparison. Just random shit happening for 2 hours and then they're up. Garden State is a great comparison to this. It's what closer to Stranger Things.
They're not fighting stupid worms that cause earthquakes.
Yeah,
be better if they did, though.
Yeah,
No.
that's
So
what
much
this
better if
movie
they did.
tacks onto this. It's bringing something to the medium, and that is too much.
Yeah.
It is bringing an entire other genre.
I
Because
guess the idea is it's.
oh no, it reminds me of like Neil Gaiman's work. Like Neil Gaiman will generally give you like a very like domestic situation and just add shit onto it until the weird stuff takes over. And
Yeah.
Comprehensive, and it makes sense. American Gods makes sense. Even the Sandman, for as much trash as that was, makes sense.
All
At
right,
least
so
it follows like a linear plot.
I feel like the things you point out aren't plot holes, though. They're just things they just didn't elaborate on. What about this movie doesn't make sense to you? I guess because the old man they didn't elaborate on. They didn't elaborate on the cat. It's not a thing they just kind of dropped on you and leave the backstory to your imagination or something. But it's not something that necessarily hinders the plot. I feel none of this stuff stops the plot from moving forward.
Okay, what doesn't make sense? So the chair is trying to capture the cat in the middle of the street, and cars are honking at a cat in a chair.
Okay,
That doesn't make
the
sense.
way you start that sentence alone, just halfway through that sentence, you're done. The car's chasing it's chasing a cat. It's a chair chasing a cat. Come on. That's why I mean my suspension of disbelief. Like, it's already ridiculous, and that's the thing you're going to worry about. It has like legs
like even-
moving telepathically all over.
Even
It's
the
not
part
connected
where
to anything.
like he has spent, I'd assume, at least a couple years doing this work of like fighting against the worm from the Ever After, right? So again, if he's going to get turned into something, why would he get turned into something from her childhood? I get because she picked up the relic, but to me, like, if he's been fighting this for a while, it would make more sense to me for him to turn into something from his lifetime.
his soul
And-
is kind
and
of
it would
just
make-
locked in the chair more than he's turned into a
Yeah.
chair.
He's turned into a chair. If I pass him on the street, I'm going to see a chair. I'm not going to see a chair with a soul. I'm going to see a chair. A three-legged chair with a face.
Well, the movie needed an excuse to make him a chair. That was integral to the plot. We needed him to be a
Then
chair,
turn
so we
him
had
into
to
an animal.
get
We've
there.
seen many other things where you turn him into at least something that at least like captures your attention a little bit more. All I'm thinking is him as a chair. I'm thinking of the Tick. I'm thinking
No.
of Chairface Chippendale.
We already had a movie where someone turns into an animal, they turn into a whale, and it's the stupidest part of the movie.
We have multiple moves where people turn
That-
to animals or they
is
switch
that
places
Summer
with their
Wars?
parents.
No, that's The Boy and the Beast.
Oh, Boy and the Beast. That's right.
Turns
Same animator, right? Not the
No,
same
that
guy.
it's a different guy.
Boy and the
Really?
Beast in Summer Wars was different.
Boy and the
Boy and the
Beast and
Beast was
Summer
Summer-
Wars were the same director, yes, but it wasn't
Oh,
the same
okay.
director
Like
as this
Bell.
movie. But yeah, it was
But
the same
this
director as Bell.
Have you seen someone turn into an inanimate object before? For 2 hours. There you go. This is new territory. That's why it had to be a chair. That's why it had. You can't think about it too much. Just a chair. Is that a dog? Is that a monkey? Is that his cousin? It's a chair, and it's random, and it's great, and we needed an excuse to get there,
Yeah,
I
Joey,
mean, at least
and it works for me.
Joey, I think to an extent, the reason why you didn't like this movie is you chose actively to not like it. I think that I think this is
chose that watching a chair pal around with a lady for a good hour of the movie became nonsensical and dumb, and then it led to other things where like it made me notice that it was still nonsensical and dumb. We can get into the fighting the worm over the entire city of Tokyo, a worm that nobody else can see, so they must be floating in the sky, but nobody sees them. Not to mention the amount of air traffic that probably goes through Tokyo itself. Dumb.
But the
Dumb.
things go
Dumb.
through the anyway. The no, it's completely
Look,
fine
you're
to
responding
not.
to the thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's completely fine to not vibe with a movie. That's perfectly fine. I understand that, but you can't like say that you are some great arbiter of objective thought. that you can somehow like Belle, which is Belle is the same as this movie. I am sorry.
The same as this
It
movie.
it has a nonsensical plot that you think ends about like 2/3 of the way through, and then here is your final act that just comes out of fucking nowhere.
Belle, okay, let's follow Belle along. So Belle is just one lady has a hidden singing talent, but she's too shy in real life. She wants to sing on social media, and she uses that singing talent to meet this one person that she's suddenly drawn to on social media, who's basically makes his living on social media being a dick. Basically a troll. So, and then she's drawn to him. She finds him somehow privately. Basically, she DMs him enough times, and then she meets him in real life and discovers he's this abused child who she goes and saves. And then the end of the movie, so she saves this abused child. That's why he's the beast. And then it's now I lost my train of thought. No,
and then it's let's solve childhood abuse portion of the plot.
It was she somehow stops this kid from being abused in this one single situation, so she thinks all is solved, and then she goes back to her regular life where now she's no longer shy and she wants to start a relationship with these people that she already knows. So basically, it helps her grow as a person to become less shy.
These children.
It's basic. But it still, again, goes from point A to point B to point C. This one goes from like this.
No, you can follow along this plot. You can literally follow along this plot on a map. Like it's
very A to B. It's very A to B with random things in the middle.
No, it's not A to B when you add in random. Like all of these side characters are random. Again, the random guy in a convertible, completely random. Hey, I know Soda. How? Fuck off.
No,
I don't know.
He's his classmate. Yeah, and he owes him money, and that's why he goes along because he owes him money. But actually, he owes him money.
I owe him money.
Which doesn't make a whole lot of sense because, like, why would you anyway?
Thank you.
He explains it at the end. It's an excuse. It was just an excuse he made up to go see it.
I got helped by this random girl that was concerned about me, so she helps me for like 15 minutes of this movie, and then I go help this other family where she wants me to babysit her kids. That didn't make sense
because she has to work at the bar.
That's the other element about this I felt was I feel like this was meant to be like a season of a show, like 10 episodes or something, but clearly they didn't have enough. Every time they would find a different worm in a different location, it was like, yeah, it's just a whole new episode. Episode 2, episode 3. You're just doing this until, well, of course, the big chair thing. So it felt like it just wasn't enough for a season, and it's barely enough for a movie.
It feels like they did not flesh out the ideas enough. Like it's like you need to do less. You need to slow down. Slow down, brother.
You know what this movie is? And granted, I like this movie a little bit better, but this movie is about as coherent as The Flash. I would compare this movie to The Flash.
The Flash is way less coherent than this.
And again, I will give you that.
The Flash is way. I like the Flash, and that was way less coherent than this.
The Flash also made less money than this movie.
Yes. Just animate everything now. Live action's
Aquaman doing well?
Just animated.
I think Aquaman is doing well.
Aquaman's doing worse than the Marvels. Come on.
Oh. Critically, it's not doing well. I don't know about box office.
Aquaman was fine.
It was fine. It was Aquaman was a fine movie. It's just superhero fatigue right now.
Is this movie better than Rebel Moon?
I haven't seen Rebel Moon. I imagine that I will like it more than Rebel Moon. Because Rebel Moon is also 2.5 hours. Rebel Moon is 30 minutes more than this. And it's a part 1. But at least they tell you it's part 1 right away.
Hey, just enjoy when you come here in March, when we see Dune Part 2, and you and Dad, for whatever reason, are the only 2 people on Earth that don't like Dune.
Dune's amazing.
Exactly. Thank you, Marlon.
See, Marlon, you're welcome to come.
Marlon, you're welcome to come to Denver in March too. See it with Tony, me, and my dad, so I can shout them down and defend this movie.
I vibe more with the David Lynch Dune than I do New Dune. It's just the nature of things.
No wonder you like people being turned into chairs and whispering. Fine.
Was that Dune or this movie? I can't tell.
It's a combination of both. It's the worst part.
I am Patrick Stewart. I am a chair now.
I defeat you with sound.
His big blocks. I vibe with the original Dune, yes, but I vibe with the new one more. It is just objectively cooler visually. Even though the plot is like it's not there yet, but it's still cool. It looks really cool. A bunch of cool shit happened for 2 hours, and it's gonna make sense now in March.
I'm willing to concede, Tony, that yes, I'm not completely objective. There are things that I like that are bad, right? Again, we've already established I'm almost 40 years old, and I still watch pro wrestling, which most of the time, no matter what company you watch, no matter what part of it you watch, is usually still bad, but it's still enjoyable. Like I'm going to watch in WrestleMania when a 50-year-old Dwayne Johnson goes and beats up his 40-year-old cousin who just beat cancer.
And
I'm going to root for the 50-year-old.
I don't even buy that that's gonna fucking happen.
It keeps showing up like it's gonna happen. It showed up again last night like he has nothing better to do.
That's what it'll be, a squash match. It'll be 3 minutes long. The Reigns is going to surprise The Rock with a spear, and The Rock is somehow going to kick out. Reigns is going to gloat, and then The Rock's going to get a surprise punches, spine buster, people's elbow, maybe a rock bottom because Reigns got to kick out at least once. Match over, so neither of them get hurt, and they can both just be done wrestling.
Come on, Triple H, go full WrestleMania 9. Triple H needs to go full WrestleMania 9, have Cody lose again, and then The Rock wins. Rock is your new champion. Greatest WrestleMania.
That to never be defended until Survivor Series. Or actually, no, Survivor Series isn't even a big show. Yep, just save it for whatever Saudi show is going to give you all the money.
Christ, they're the new Survivor Series now. That's a bummer. I have to watch it now. I thought it was a one-time thing, but I guess it's every year now, so...
And Joey, I'm the one who bought the World's End pay-per-view, so I know bad. Although some of the matches were good.
They said?
The last three, it is completely backloaded. Like, before the actual event ends, the good matches are the 2 women's matches, and then it's the last 3 matches.
In Samoa Joe and MJF.
Yeah, the rest feels like you're watching Battle of the Belts.
Okay, so let me ask this objectively, because I've heard from people that usually defend AEW say they weren't that loud. They acknowledge that it happened, and then of course people that hate it say the chants were overwhelmingly loud. How bad was the stuff towards Jericho? Oh,
it was bad. Like they sang Judas, and then the booing started.
I don't know why they sang Judas.
And then people started trying to like chant down the boos by chanting Y2J, which just made the booers mad, and they started chanting NDA, and it was really funny, and the crowd realized it was funny, so more people chanted NDA, and then the booing got louder. It was amazing.
Followers do you think Nick Houseman has gained through this past 6 months? Like he is going to become the Twitter wrestling reporter now.
Wonderful.
Like I don't. Like,
I kind of want to watch that.
I have it. You can just log into my Bleacher Report and watch that waste of 5 hours.
I heard a lot of backlash towards Kingston and Moxley, but I don't know what people.
Oh, I loved Kingston and Moxley. That got me in my heart. That was wonderful.
It's just guys beating each other up because they want to
just slap
each other in the face. What other match was bad then? Like what was?
Just not talk about Suzume.
Suzume is bad. What's better, Suzume or at World's End?
I would consider I consider World's End like a better use of my time, but
you were talking about quality, like it's wrestling versus a well-written movie.
That tells. I want all the viewers to know. I mean, all 3 of us, but still, all the viewers to know that Tony considered what he considered a subpar wrestling pay-per-view that lasted 5 hours a better use of his time than this 2 hour and 10-minute movie.
Well, I
That
do
was
give
still pretty to look at.
I do
will
give
say.
I do give caveats to it, which is that I cannot the higher highs of World's End beat Suzume's highs. Moxley and Kingston and Samoa Joe against MJF I would consider better than like Suzume, the greatest highs that Suzume gets. So I need to acknowledge that in some way, shape, or form by saying that World's End is better.
I still feel like Wardlow should have been the devil over Adam Cole. Because then it just makes like Adam Cole was working for Wardlow the whole time. That I think is, but I mean,
Wardlow had his attempted run and it didn't work out. He's better as a henchman for at least for now.
That's fair.
It's weird.
But I will say, at least, like, I mean, that's the only real direction they could have taken the devil angle. Like, who are you going to randomly bring in to be the devil? That would make sense or make it work. No.
Ryan Nemeth.
Is he going to wrestle in AEW? I don't think.
No, Dolph Ziggler's. I don't think will wrestle in AEW.
I'm not sure he's wrestling.
I don't think he is either. Probably doesn't need to.
He's
for WWE for 20 years.
Ryan Nemeth barely wrestles in AEW now. Ryan Nemeth was in Barbie. He was an extra, but he was still in it.
It's money. Get his name out there.
So anyway, Suzume.
That's how Christian started, but he hasn't done anything since.
So Suzume
Right,
is a
Suzume,
movie.
yeah.
And in our Animesplaining scoring function. So once again, stolen from Super Eye Patch Wolf, the 7-star system of 1 being completely insulting to your intelligence, 2 is bad with good qualities, 3 is a generalized I liked it statement, 4 is like you can point out like specific things that you liked, but overall like there are some problems. 5 is good for the genre, 6 is exemplary for the genre, and 7 is so good it has redefined what good is. So, Joey, what do you give Suzume's Locking Door?
I will give it a 1.75, and it will get a 0.75 for the fact that it is pretty to look at, and also a 0.25 because we talked about this before off air. I was due an episode where I get salty. Thank you, Suzume, for at least making me salty for finally an anime episode. So 1.75.
Oh man, Swordsmith Village is just gonna
Yeah,
gonna make you so happy.
No, are you gonna get offended when I like that better than this?
I'm going to be very confused when you like it better than this. Marwin, what do you give Suzume?
I'm gonna aim for a 5, bordering on a 6. I want to give it a 6, but I'm thinking 5. It's something that's done of so little, barely a plot, and it managed to make me feel for the characters. Because that's just it. This is stupid. This is a very silly plot, but by the end, I wanted her to rescue Soda. I was right there with her. And they managed to do that with a freaking chair and some cats. So I'm going to give them points for just skill, really. Most Americans, of stuff we have here, we haven't been able to draw this much emotion out of people. This guy did it with a chair and some cats. And
and Marwin froze.
what that? My back?
No, you're coming in like a little choppily.
Oh. All right. Well, this guy did a lot with very little, and I appreciate the movie for that. A lot of movies, they tend to just pile on subplots and characters so it looks like there's a lot going on, but there's not much substance to it. There was a lot of emotional substance to something with very little plot substance, if that makes sense. It's a very simple storyline that maybe a 5-year-old even made up. It feels like this is the visual equivalent of someone taking a drawing they did as a kid and redrawing it as an adult to look cooler. This is clearly a kid's story made by an adult for adults, because this is like Grimm's fairy tale level simple.
Yeah, I'm more on your level, Marlon, than I am with Joey. I think that this is a movie that certainly feels like if it was just on regular cable, I would sit down and watch it. Like if it was, it's like, oh, it's this part in Suzume. Like you're never confused as to what is happening because one, the movie will actively explain to you what's happening, but it will also it's also very easy to follow it in its like given plot line. I'm not going to give it a 5. I can't give it a 5 because there are other movies in this genre. There are other movies from this director which I consider better. But I can't give this under a 4 because, kind of similar to you, Marlon, there are legitimate points that even on multiple viewings, like there are parts that make me laugh. The part that makes me laugh in this movie is when the convertible's roof suddenly works and guy goes like, "Oh, the roof works," and then the door falls off the car. It's like that's a good gag, and I will admit it catches me in the feelings to hear like little girl Suzume wonder where her mom is and like elderly 17-year-old Suzume is like, no, it's okay, things are better, and she's like, no, it's not better, where's my mom? It's like, that's really sad, and the movie just has like no real answer to it other than it'll get better. I guess I'm out of here now. Like I'm not.
You'll grow personality. But guess what? They've already done that. They did that in Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. When you think the whole movie he got saved by his mom or his dad, and you discover it was just him the whole time because they traveled through time. Which, by the way, as similar to this as it sounds, explained much better in Harry Potter. But I mean,
I feel like
Harry Potter has a much better writer.
I think your hiccup, at least the thing you can't get past, while I have no issue, is the explanation thing. I'm cool with the movie not explaining these things. It could be a mystery to me. I don't need to know how any of this actually works. I just want the emotional repercussion. I compare it to seeing someone on the street in a sad situation. I don't need to know their backstory or their name to feel bad for them. I know a sad situation when I see it. So in this movie, it's just, I don't know this girl, but this sucks. I know that what's happening to her sucks, and I feel bad for this cat, and I feel bad for this guy that's a chair, because no one should be a chair.
Why do you
That's
feel
a shit
bad?
situation being.
Why did you feel bad for the cat, Marlon?
She was like, you don't love me, and she like shriveled up, like walked away, and it was like, I don't ever forget. It's like a sad cat. At the same time, this cat's gonna be doing something just to be free and not be a freaking statue anymore.
Because the cat was talking to him in riddles throughout the whole movie and turned her one love interest into a chair.
Which I felt bad for. Like, it felt like you couldn't win either way, and by the time she turned the cat back into a statue, she felt bad for the cat now. Like, either way, someone has to be a frozen statue, and I felt bad for them both, really. More so for the dude more than the cat, but that's because it's a man, and that's a deceitful cat. Anyway, I've seen being turned into an inanimate object is not something I want. No. So the way he described being a chair, cold and not feeling, I imagine the cat felt the same, and it's very happy to be out there and alive. I'd be happy to be out there and alive, and just gets shut down as soon as it comes out. It's like, now we can spend time together. No, fuck you. Oh my god, shit.
We did watch anime. At least it didn't end with Suzume sitting on the chair.
No, there is, but they do use that.
They sit on my face.
Yeah, but they do. He definitely does know that that's in his pocket because there is the one scene when she's at the bar and she sits on the chair and even the camera's like, she's sitting on the chair.
Like, I thought that's what the movie was gonna lead up to, and then he just avoided it the entire time. So kudos. Just avoided the easy joke. Like, she's not gonna sit on him. No one's gonna say it. Nothing. All right.
1.5. I changed my score.
Because it felt like that was the gag. Like, the entire movie was a gag about sit on my face, and it just doesn't come up. So I'm the pervert for faking it. Extra point. I'm thinking my fuck.
I thought we got past that. That's right. God dang it.
Well, speaking of perverts, so we get to go on our death march to get caught up on Demon Slayer. Because Joey had his off-ramp and decided, no, I'll watch more Demon Slayer, and so here we are.
Is it all Zenitsu? Right. Is it all that little dorky, blonde-headed?
So I will.
You will not slander the best character on that show.
I will tell you that
he wants to marry a zombie because a zombie can't talk back to him.
So in the entertainment district arc, there is more Zenitsu
because she's gagged, Marlon.
she's gagged and gets really muscular. There's a whole situation going on.
Oh, you're gonna see a situation with Nezuko in this new one.
No, no.
When I said even in
submissive big women.
I said in the Mugen Train episode of Animesplaining that the next arc is like weirdly horny. Like in a show that has not really been horny, like the Entertainment District arc gets pretty horny, and the Swordsmith Village arc also gets pretty horny. So this is just where we live now.
You said the Entertainment District episodes get better. You didn't say gets more horny.
I did say they get horny.
By definition, it does get better. It depends on who you're talking to.
And like, so I will say that the things you have to look forward to is I do like the villain in the Entertainment District arc. I think you have a really good heel when he shows up.
Okay.
But with the like Swordsmith Village, I feel like is filler, but it's filler that moves along the plot, so it's like canon. But we don't need to worry about that for 2 months, because this month, probably near the end, we'll be doing the Entertainment District arc. We'll be seeing, we'll be seeing a lot of boobs, is really what it comes down to. It's just
so is it like that first season, like the Spider-Woman episode where you just like, I mean, like you said, like her superpower was just boobs.
There is
half those ninja guys you met.
There is just so much unnecessary cleavage in this entire arc.
I mean, this is a show realistically garnered towards teenage boys.
That is true. I do understand that, but still, for as conservative as the like first entire arc is in like the first 26 episodes, for the show to veer so hard as it does in the Entertainment District arc, pun very much intended.
Well, I mean, like you said, if Mugen Train made all the money, like what can we make next that'll make more money? Oh, we'll just add boobs for all of these young teenagers that are coming to see this, and now we'll get more teenagers to come see this.
And he got me to watch Tenchi Muyo. I can't tell you what that show is about. There's women in it.
Exactly, like you said, Tony. Japan is ultra capitalist. Follow the money. Just follow the money.
But yeah, so near the end of the month, we will watch. We will review the Entertainment District arc. In February, we will review the Swordsmith Village arc, and then there will be new episodes of Demon Slayer to watch, but we'll take a break at that point and watch Samurai Champloo, because we need to watch something good from feudal Japan.
Oh, that
would be nice, relaxing.
If that's what that is, Samurai Shampoo is feudal Japan.
Samurai Champloo.
That's not gonna. It's gonna be Samurai Shampoo. It's just.
Is that a real word?
It's done by the same guy who made Cowboy Bebop, and it's not quite as good as Cowboy Bebop, but what is? But it's still
lots of things.
It's still really good.
But Cowboy.
Have you seen the show yet? Did we get you to watch the show yet?
I gained more respect for Cowboy Bebop after actually being one of the few people that actually like the live action series. But
I hate your opinions, man.
That's allowed, Marlon.
I don't know a better way to end the show.
This is what my marriage is too. It's Ashley just disagreeing with me all the time, and I was like, I like this. I'm gonna marry you. I need somebody to tell me when I'm being an idiot.
Yeah, it's fair and balanced.
So anyway, we get to listen to some music with the Entertainment District arc. We get to see some geishas, I guess, and we get to see what that Zelina Vega cosplay is all about. As we do some Demon Slayer next time, but until then, that's it. That's it from us. So I guess I will stop streaming here as I hit the button. Wherever that button is. Where the hell is it? Oh no.